Alright battlers, welcome back to a brand new Timeless Cup video. Today we're taking a look at the LA Mega Cup recap. So I had a friend, his name is JEngels, and he lives in Orlando, Florida. He did go all the way out to LA to compete in the biggest tournament held in North America to date. There were over 300 active PvPers that participated in the cup. Lots of really big names that I'm sure you'll recognize. And I'm sure you all heard about the results. Lemon Lime ended up going 9-0 to sweep the biggest cup in history, and it was just a lot of fun. JEngels went out there and he went 7-2, a very, very respectable record against some of the top players in the entire world. He did very well, and I wanted to go over his team and then his tournament recap as well. So going to LA, JEngels brought Sealeo with Powder Snow, Body Slam, and Aurora Beam, Dragonair with Dragon Breath, Dragon Pulse, and Aqua Tail. He also has Meganium as his starter with Vine Whip, Earthquake, and Frenzy Plant, Venomoth actually with Confusion, Poison Fang, and Silver Wind, as well as Sunny Castform with Ember, Weather Ball, and Solar Beam, and finally the big bad Kingdra with Dragon Breath, Octazooka, and Outrage. JEngels actually filled me in and let me know that he didn't bring his Venomoth in a single game, trainers. That Venomoth was purely bench pressure for him. It tried to dissuade trainers from bringing a lot of grass poisons against him, things like Venusaur or Victory Bell, trying to keep those Razor Leafers at home, and it worked really, really well. As you watch this video, you'll see he doesn't bring it in a single match, and a lot of trainers kind of disagree on this. They say, well, you should have every Pokemon on your team, you should have them because they're very important to your strategy, whereas other trainers believe that you can have one or two that you just leave on the bench just so you can kind of control what your opponent brings. It's very, very interesting strategy, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Trainers, before we get into this tournament recap, if you want to leave me a like, let me know in the comments down below how you did in your Timeless Cup. In my weighted cup, I played here in Tampa and I went 4-2. Definitely let me know how you did in this month and if you enjoyed this meta. And then if you really like this video, hit that subscribe button to see more, and let's get right into it. So for round one of the LA Mega Cup, JEngels is going to face off against Zomguy90. Zomguy has a Kingdra, Dragonair, Whiscash, Ninetales, Meganium, and Pinsir. Pinsir is a very spicy pick. JEngels is going to decide to lead with his Sealeo. He does have Dragonair and Kingdra in the back. Sealeo is going to encounter that Pinsir, and obviously you have to be very careful of a fighting type attack coming from this Pinsir. Something like Superpower or Close Combat would completely devastate Sealeo, so he's going to absorb that first X Cutter, and here comes a Body Slam from Sealeo. His opponent is going to shield, and JEngels makes an aggressive swap here into Dragonair. Dragonair does get to the Aqua Tail really quickly here, gonna force the second shield out of his opponent. That Pinsir is loaded with energy, and in comes Kingdra. So I do think this was a bit of a late swap by his opponent. Kingdra is actually going to have to absorb this Aqua Tail being shieldless, and it's now deep into the red. In comes Sealeo with the Body Slam already loaded. I'm not sure if his opponent had the Octazooka, maybe there was some hesitation there, or maybe he was a few Dragon Breaths away, but either way, Sealeo brings it down. He's going to spend one shield here to defend against Superpower, and then bring down that Pinsir with the Kingdra. In comes that Ninetales, and this is a very great situation for JEngels. He's going to go here for the Octazooka, which although it doesn't do a lot of damage to most Pokemon, it is a water type attack, and it's going to do great against Ninetales. All he needs to do is shield this overheat, and he's going to Dragon Breath down for the win. Going into round two, JEngels will lead Sealeo again. He does have Kingdra and Sunny Castform in the back. Here goes Sealeo up against Whiscash. So JEngels is a great battler, very experienced guy. He's done this 100,000 times. He knows how to play this matchup. The Mud Bomb flies from the Whiscash, and he QSA'd the Body Slam here. So not giving Whiscash a chance to bail out. He is going to force that first Body Slam, and then I think they reach a CMP tie here. Another Mud Bomb is going to come through from the Whiscash, and here comes another Body Slam from Sealeo. So basically a replay of what we saw with their first interaction. JEngels is going to swap here into Kingdra, and he's going to face off against the Kingdra Mirror. JEngels has a really good Kingdra, as you can tell here shortly from its IV spread. He's going to Octazooka that Kingdra, missing a fast move, but he's going to be able to bring it down anyway. So definitely very, very sturdy Kingdra there. Here comes the Sealeo against Dragonair, and this is actually not a great situation. As we know, the Sunny Castform is in the back and has a really hard time against Dragonair. Dragonair, especially with as much energy as it has, and that Aqua Tail is going to be very hard to defend against. JEngels has to burn his first shield, and then almost back-to-back trainers, he has to burn that second shield. So Sunny Castform is in deep, deep trouble. In comes the Whiscash with a Mud Bomb ready, and this is all just formalities at this point. He's going to do super effective damage. Fire off the Weather Ball here. I think this will take down Whiscash, which it does. In comes Dragonair, though, and before he can do anything about it, the Dragon Breaths will KO. For game 3, JEngels will lead his Kingdra. He does have Dragonair and Sealeo in the back. Kingdra is going to encounter Whiscash this time, which is not a terrible position for Kingdra to be in, especially post Octazooka. Here comes an attack from Whiscash. We know this is not a Blizzard. I definitely think his opponent should have worked up to the Blizzard just to have that threat. Even if you throw the double Mud Bombs, you always want to try to play the mind games and put some shield pressure on your opponent. JEngels is going to use that shield there to defend against the second Mud Bomb. Trainers, I think in Timeless Cup, what we learn is that you have to be very careful and very mindful of your health when it comes to shield situations. He's going to land the Aurora Beam here, which is great. Didn't go for the bluff, but as I was saying, you need to be careful, especially with these dragons running around. You can have both of your shields, but if somebody pulls out a Dragonair against your Pokemon, it does not matter. Dragon Breath is so devastating. In comes Whiscash, and when we're pretty sure this is a Mud Bomb, which it is, again, the Whiscash did not have enough energy for the Blizzard. JEngels was counting, and I'm sure he noted that when he made the decision not to shield. He is going to not shield this attack either, electing to allow Dragonair to absorb that. One more shield, and here comes Ninetales. This is pretty much open closed. He is going to force the final shield with the Aqua Tail, and he has Kingdra in the back. Here comes Kingdra, and all he needs is the Octazooka, but JEngels is going to shield up here, and just to be certain, he is going to double tap this Ninetales by using the Outrage. So very, very well played for round 1 for JEngels. JEngels' round 2 opponent is Pokeeeeemaniac. He's going to be bringing his starter Venusaur with Sealeo, Whiscash, Dragonair, Venomoth, and Lapras. For round 1, JEngels is going to lead with his Meganium. He does have Dragonair and Sealeo in the back. Meganium will encounter a Dragonair lead, so definitely not a great situation for Meganium, but Meganium is such a bulky grass type. Excellent, excellent swap by Pokeeeeemaniac there. He knew the Frenzy Plant was coming. He goes right into Venusaur. Very well played. This is, I think, where the strategy falls short, though, because he's able to get off the Frenzy Plant, but he's not able to get to a second charge move here. As you can tell, the Dragon Breaths wear down that Venusaur. You definitely want to at least land another Frenzy Plant. In a perfect world, you get the Sludge Bomb, but in comes Sealeo, and he fires off the Aqua Tail here, trying to bluff that shield out. He's going to go for another Aqua Tail. Ice in his veins right here. JEngels is really trying to put a lot of pressure on the Sealeo. His opponent builds up a ton of energy. We can expect multiple body slams here. There is one, and back from the dead, Dragonair is going to land one more farewell Aqua Tail. I think that move is QSA. It's very, very well done by JEngels. In comes Meganium, and Meganium's going to face this attack. It will be a body slam, so definitely a good call not to shield there. If that was a Aurora Beam, it would have definitely KO'd Meganium. Another attack comes in, and this Meganium is very, very weak, but he does have a ton of energy. He's going to go for the Frenzy Plant here, and I don't think he has enough for a double Frenzy Plant, but he does swap into Sealeo. This is Sealeo versus Dragonair with a shield advantage. All you need is the Aurora Beam to win it, and JEngels has played very well in this game as well. The Aurora Beam here, as we know, is going to bring down Dragon-type Dragonair. Taking a look at game 2, he will lead Sealeo with Dragonair and Kingdra in the back. So Sealeo lead with double dragons. This is one of JEngels' favorite lines to run, and this is actually a very interesting match here. I know that some trainers like to QSA this mirror match with the Sealeo. As you can tell there, he was pressing on it and decided to go ahead and fire off the body slam. He is able to get to 2, so I know he was counting there the correct number of powder snows. He does bring that Sealeo into the yellow, and things are looking pretty good, but this trainer is going to pull it back. Here comes one body slam and then another body slam after just a few more powdered snows. This trainer is actually going to fire off a third body slam before JEngels can get to his third. So definitely a very precarious situation. Flipped it really, really quickly there. In comes another body slam, and these trainers are actually going to reach a CMP tie. JEngels is going to win this, bringing down his opponent Sealeo and winning switch advantage, which is huge for the rest of the match. In comes Dragonair. And that Dragonair is a little bit weakened by the Powdered Snows. He decides to bring in his Kingdra here. Kingdra is going to somewhat resist that Dragon Breath, being a water type. He will defend against the Dragon Pulse. I definitely think that was the right move. Being down a 2 shield deficit, you want to put as much pressure on your opponent as possible. Here comes Octazooka against this Venusaur, and in comes Dragonair. So this Venusaur actually did not have its attack dropped. He is going to have to defend against the Frenzy Plant. Definitely worried that that was a Sledge Bomb. He's going to go here for the Aqua Tail. I found this is a good strategy as well, trainers. You sneak in as many fast moves as you can, and then you fire off the charge move. Even if your opponent is weak, you definitely want to put pressure on them and get a little extra energy in the process. For round 3, he will lead Sunny Castform with Sealeo and Kingdra all the way there in the back. Here comes Sunny Castform, and there's Venusaur. Perfect prediction with the lead. Here comes Dragonair, and he is going to swap out into Sealeo. So this match is going exactly how Jingles wants it to go. He is going to land this Body Slam here against the Dragonair. And at this point, Dragonair is probably going to go for the Dragon Pulse, but instead he baits at the Aqua Tail. I definitely think you got to land the Dragon Pulse here to flip this matchup somehow. So he's going to land a second Body Slam, and down goes Dragonair. His opponent is electing to save those shields for his other Pokemon. In comes Venusaur again, and the Body Slam is going to get shielded. This Venusaur is building up a ton of energy. The farm down failed though, and Jingles is able to get to another Body Slam. So this Venusaur is deep into the yellow, almost to the red. Sunny Castform comes in and lands this Weather Ball, which is really huge. His opponent is going to shield that, and out comes Lapras. So it's Lapras versus Sunny Castform with 2 shields, and that Venusaur is in the back. And you can tell what's coming, trainers. You know the beam is coming. Beam me up, Scotty, and get wrecked, Lapras. He is almost there, and here we go. Solar Beam for the win. This Lapras gets annihilated. In comes Venusaur, and an Ember is almost enough. This Sunny Castform is going to absorb this attack, and that Ember ends up fizzling out the Venusaur. Jingles round 3 opponent is the BFG. BFG is going to be bringing Lapras, Dragonair, Venusaur, Kingdra, Whiscash, and Sealeo. Definitely a very meta team. Jingles will lead with Sealeo. He does have Dragonair and Meganium in the back. So usually he packs that Kingdra in the back, but this time he brought Meganium. Let's see how it turns out. He does have that Sealeo versus Venusaur matchup, so those Powder Snows are going to add up, but he's got to fire off these Body Slams and put a lot of pressure on Venusaur. He can't allow himself to get hit by a Frenzy Plant though, so this is a very risky proposition. He is going to build up a few more Powder Snows there, definitely counting the Vine Whips, and doesn't look for the swap, which is surprising to me. He's actually going to allow this attack through as well. So Sealeo goes down. The shield matchup is the same, and he's able to farm down with Dragonair. So definitely a very interesting wrinkle there, a very interesting strategic play. In comes the Kingdra, and he's going straight for that Dragon Pulse. He's going to make him pay if he doesn't shield, and he does. So that Dragonair is going to go down from the Dragon Breaths, but the Kingdra is very weak. In comes Meganium, and defending against the Outrage here, he will shield, which is definitely the right move. In comes Lapras. So at this point, he's got to be very careful, but I think he's got this one in the bag. He's going to fire off the Frenzy Plant here. Lapras barely hanging on there for the Surf, do a little bit of damage, but in comes that Kingdra, and this Meganium is just too close. He gets to the Frenzy Plant, and this will bring down the Water Dragon Kingdra. For game 2, he's going to lead with that Meganium. He does have Dragonair and Sealeo in the back. Meganium is going to encounter the Kingdra in the lead situation, so definitely not a bad look for Meganium at all. Those Frenzy Plants are going to do a ton of damage if they hit. He's going to fire off this first one against the Kingdra, and it will get shielded. So out goes Kingdra, in comes Dragonair. A little bit of switch shenanigans there, and in comes the Sealeo. So Sealeo, as you can tell, he built up right to that Aurora Beam. He's going to shield this, thinking it might be Dragon Pulse, and then he QSA'd the Aurora Beam. So here comes a big attack, and it does land. Super effective damage, bringing down that shiny, awesome Kingdra. But here comes that Venusaur once again. He does go for the Body Slam here, I think threatening the Aurora Beam, but his opponent does not take the bait. His opponent's going to fire off another charge move, and Jingles is going to let Sealeo go here. I think he lost leverage at that point, and he's got a very healthy Dragonair in the back. Trainers, we know this is a Sludge Bomb here, and in comes the Kingdra. Meganium's going to come back out, but that Kingdra has a ton of energy, and it's going to fire off the Outrage. Jingles gets that shield up just in time, and he's able to fire off the Frenzy Plant here, which will get shielded, and he's got to get to one more to seal the deal, and he does exactly that. So he's able to bring down this Kingdra, and then his last opponent will be a weakened Venusaur. He's able to get to the Frenzy Plant at the last second, just barely avoiding that Sludge Bomb, and he will win that round. Taking a look at the next game, JEngels is going to lead that Sunny Castform with Dragonair and Sealeo in the back. Castform's going to go up against Kingdra here, and Kingdra being a water type is going to resist that, so he has to bail out in favor of Sealeo. Sealeo versus Lapras is a very close matchup. It's a very interesting matchup. You've got two of the tankiest Pokemon here. Generally, Sealeo will pull this game out, especially with an energy lead. So he's going to double Body Slam there and actually get to a third Body Slam, putting a ton of pressure on Lapras. Lapras has to land that Skull Bash there as a Hail Mary attack, and it does get shielded. So this Lapras is in a huge hole. JEngels is going to have to Body Slam it a couple more times after the buff, but that one does get shielded as well. In comes Dragonair, trying to wrap this up with the Dragon Breaths, but it doesn't quite work. He's going to shield a second Skull Bash. So definitely very good shielding by JEngels. He's at a shielding disadvantage, but it would have been really devastating if he would have allowed that through. In comes the Octazooka, but he's just barely able to pull off the Dragon Pulse, which will bring down the Kingdra. Very, very nicely played there. In comes Dragonair, and this is actually a very sticky situation. He decides to bring in Sealeo here, and he's going to work almost all the way up to the Aurora Beam, but this late in the match, trainers are probably not counting as well. He's going to get to another Body Slam here, just trying to put pressure on Dragonair, but it will not KO, and then a few more Powdered Snows. He gets to another Body Slam, and I just don't understand what his opponent is doing, not throwing a charge move. He brings down the Kingdra, and in comes Sunny Castform to wrap that game up. JEngels round 4 opponent is Crollo13X. Crollo has Charizard, Victory Bell, Dragonair, Whiscash, Sealeo, and Skuntank. For game 1, JEngels is going to lead with his Sealeo. He does have his double dragons in the back with Dragonair and Kingdra. This strategy has worked out really well for him so far. Let's see how it turns out here. So we're going to see the Sealeo mirror match, and these two players play it a little bit differently than we saw the first time around in this video. His opponent's actually going to throw the Body Slam first, and then here comes a second Body Slam. Now, as you can tell, JEngels did not land another Powder Snow in between those attacks. He is going to go here for his own Body Slam. And you can tell right there the animation, his opponent landed a Powder Snow in the middle. Here comes another Body Slam from JEngels, but his opponent has an energy advantage. So he's going to fire off his third Body Slam to bring this Sealeo down into the red, but his opponent's going to get another attack off as well. So here's where that one Powder Snow really makes a difference. He's actually able to get to his Body Slam one move before JEngels, and he's going to be able to bring him down and win switch advantage. So definitely keep in mind, trainers, when you're facing a close mirror match like that, you got to know when to QSA and when to when to just do the standard double charge moves. He's going to fire off the Octazooka here against the Skuntank. Skuntank fell out of favor in a lot of ways when Kingdra got Octazooka, but I think it's still a very strong pick. It's a very sturdy Pokemon that can really mash it out with a lot of other key Pokemon in this meta. He's going to decide to shield the Aqua Tail, bring down Dragonair with Dragon Breath. In comes Skuntank again. Here comes the Aqua Tail, forcing that final shield out of his opponent. He's actually able to get to another Aqua Tail, and this will bring down Skuntank to win game 1. Going into game 2, JEngels will lead his trusty Kingdra with Dragonair and Sealeo in the back, so the same line of 3, just swap the flow here, Avenge style. His opponent sticks with that Sealeo lead, and this is not great for JEngels. He does swap into his own Sealeo, and then in comes Victory Bell. Victory Bell is one of my favorite Pokemon in the Timeless Cup for this exact reason. Those Razor Leafs are going to eat into the Sealeo, but look at this, trainers. JEngels has ice in his veins. He's going to fire off the Aurora Beam here after shield baiting with the Body Slam, and he flips that hard counter right on its head. Very, very nice play by JEngels. He's unable to get to the Body Slam, but he has to be happy with himself after he won that match against the Victory Bell. The Body Slam lands on Kingdra, and here comes a second one. So JEngels is actually going to decide to shield. He knows he needs to keep this Kingdra healthy, especially if he has to face a dragon in the back. So another Body Slam comes his way, and he's trying to charge up here for the Outrage, and he does reach it. So Outrage will KO this Sealeo in this range, but it does get shielded. So again, not a great situation for JEngels. His Kingdra is very weak, so he's going to allow his opponent to use his energy there. In comes Dragonair. We know this is not an Aurora Beam, so JEngels does not shield. It's just the Body Slam. In comes Skuntank though, and he's got to get to that Dragon Pulse to put an end to the Skuntank, which he finally does. Dragon Pulse lands, and then in comes the Sealeo, and a few Dragon Breaths will wrap that up. For the final game, Jingles will lead Sealeo. He does have his Kingdra and Sunny Castform in the back. Sealeo is going to counter this Dragonair, which is really good for him. His opponent does bail out into Skuntank, and out comes Sunny Castform. So Sunny Castform does have access to Weather Ball and Solar Beam. It will probably win this matchup just based on bulk and how quickly this Weather Ball is going to spam. He does land the first one, and his opponent actually gets to another crunch. So Jingles is going to shield this up, knowing he can get to another Weather Ball before his opponent gets to another crunch. He's actually going to over farm there and bring that Sunny Castform really low, but he's going to fire off this Weather Ball into this Dragonair. It will be resisted, but his opponent does decide to shield, which is surprising. In comes the Sealeo versus Sealeo mirror match, and somehow, trainers, at the end of all of this, we are right back where we started with the Sealeo mirror match. The way to go here is the body slams. As we've seen two different ways to play this matchup through, we're actually seeing a third way here. So Jingles is going to go for another body slam, and these trainers are basically trading blows. He goes for an early body slam here, instead electing not to charge up extra energy, and his opponent's going to return the favor with the body slam. These Pokemon are both pretty weak. I don't think Jingles will survive this body slam. It comes through, and he is, oh no, he's not able to hang on, but in comes Kingdra. The Dragon Breaths will bring down Sealeo. Out comes Dragonair. So he is going to try to nerf this Dragonair with the Octazooka, and he does not get it. This is a much closer match because of that, but he does have the shield, so he's going to absorb that Aqua Tail with the shield and Dragon Breath for the win. Jingles' next opponent is Madscandalous. That is a trainer name you probably recognize. Madscandalous is going to be bringing a Dragonair, Meganium, Sudowoodo, Kingdra, Glalie, and Sealeo. For round one, Jingles will lead with his Sealeo. He does have Kingdra and Meganium in the back. Sealeo is going to encounter a Dragonair lead, which is really, really positive for him. He's going to fire off these powder snows here, and his opponent's actually going to decide to stay in. He does wait for the swap, but it does not occur, so he does go for the body slam. He goes for a double body slam here, trying to put a lot of pressure on Dragonair to shield or swap, and Dragonair actually goes down. In comes Sudowoodo, one of my favorite Pokemon in the Timeless Cup. I just want to make a quick shout out to Catch the Rye, that he was able to bring Sudowoodo all the way to the championship game. Really, really nice play there by Catch the Rye. Definitely go check out his channel. I'll leave a link in my description down below. Really solid guy, really cool guy, and his spokesman Kai is a rock star. Here we go with Meganium facing off against Kingdra with the swap in. He's going to go here for a little extra energy and then for the Frenzy Plant. So Frenzy Plant will get shielded, but he has enough energy for a second one. Frenzy Plant is going to rock this Kingdra if it lands, and it does. Kingdra is deep into the red, but it has a charge move. Hoping this is Octazooka, and it is, which is really, really nice. If it was Outrage, it probably would have KO'd. In comes the Sudowoodo, and the Rock Slides are going to fly. Sudowoodo is so much fun. It is so tough to deal with, but Jingles is going to get to the Octazooka here, and being a rock type, this Octazooka will bring it down. Going into game two, Jingles is going to lead with his Meganium. He does have Kingdra and Sealeo in the back. Meganium is going to encounter the Dragonair lead. So Madscandalous decided to stay with the same lead. This is actually going to work out well for him because he will win this matchup in most scenarios. Jingles goes here for the Frenzy Plant bait, and his opponent decides to shield. So definitely thought that was an Earthquake there. He's trying to get to another Frenzy Plant, actually decides to shield here. I think this is kind of a poker kind of tell as well, because he wants to land that Earthquake, especially if he shields like that, but Madscandalous allows the attack through anyway. Here comes another attack, and it will probably be Aqua Tail, which it is. Meganium is so thick though, it's going to resist that Aqua Tail and get one more Frenzy Plant. Guys, I don't know many things that can survive 3 Frenzy Plants, especially with the shield. So Meganium is able to bring down Dragonair. In comes Sealeo, and this Sealeo is at a slight health disadvantage, but it does have a little bit of extra energy as well. This is a very interesting way to play this matchup out. This is actually the 4th time we've seen the Sealeo mirror match in this cup so far. Here comes a body slam from his opponent, and then another one in rapid succession. So his opponent is going to bring him down into the yellow first, but Jingles is going to get to his own body slam to try to even the playing field here. That Sealeo is a little bit weaker, but this could go either way. Here comes another body slam, bringing Jingles deep into the red. His opponent actually gets to another one first, so the energy advantage is more important than the health advantage in that matchup, which is really, really good to note. In comes Kingdra here with a little extra energy, and his opponent's last Pokemon is Kingdra. He's going to go for the nerf here, with the Octazooka. Kingdra is such a devastating Pokemon, trainers. So many times I've been expecting the outrage, but it's just the Octazooka because you absolutely don't want to get hit by it, and it works almost every time. JEngels is actually going to lose that match, and we're going to face off against his next opponent. We don't have the footage for Game 3, but JEngels did ultimately lose to Madscandalous. His next opponent is Naruto Kurama 9. So Naruto is going to be bringing Sunny Castform, Dragonair, Sealeo, Meganium, Venomoth, and Whiscash. For round 1 against Naruto, JEngels will lead his Meganium. He does have Kingdra and Sealeo in the back. So Meganium is going to encounter a Meganium lead. So this is a mirror match we have not seen yet. You definitely want to go for the Earthquakes here. If you can bait with the Frenzy Plants, that is also a positive thing. Here comes an attack, and it will be the Frenzy Plant from his opponent. JEngels is going to work up a little more energy and then go here for his own Frenzy Plant. Not drawing the shield from his opponent, though. He does go for a second Frenzy Plant. A very aggressive play, trying to make his opponent pay for not shielding that first one. Here comes another Frenzy Plant from the opposing Meganium, and then a swap into Sunny Castform. So he was trying to get rid of that Meganium there with the quick swap, but JEngels is so quick, he actually bails out right in time. Sealeo is going to face off here against Sunny Castform. This is actually not as good of a matchup for Sealeo as you would imagine, because Sealeo is part ice. So he is taking neutral damage from these embers and weather balls. This match is a lot closer than a lot of trainers think. So here comes an attack from Sunny Castform, which is Weather Ball, bringing Sealeo deep into the red, but he's able to get off one more Body Slam, which will bring down Sunny Castform. So Sealeo holds on. Its bulk is just so impressive in this cup. Here comes the opposing Sealeo, and his Sealeo falls. So this is not a great situation for JEngels at all. He actually loses his Meganium there to the Powder Snows, and in comes Kingdra. So Kingdra does have 2 shields. This attack is actually going to be a Body Slam, but you have to shield it being wary of the Aurora Beam, which would do a massive amount of damage. He's going to absorb that second Body Slam, and here is where Sealeo can be so oppressive. A third Body Slam, and this is a very dark day for JEngels. He's not going to be able to pull this one out. He does fire off the Octazooka, nerfing this Meganium, but he's only got 1 shield left, and these Vine Whips are still going to add up. These Dragon Breaths are not going to be enough, and JEngels is going to drop game 1. Going into game 2, he will lead Sealeo with Kingdra and his Dragonair in the back. So Sealeo lead with double dragons has worked out very well, and it works out again in the lead situation. So the Sealeo is going to face off against a Dragonair, and then the Sealeo swaps in late. He does have the energy advantage, though, trainers, and we talked about this just a couple of clips ago. This Sealeo, even though it has a slight health disadvantage, can win this matchup if he plays this correctly. So he's actually going to get off 3 Body Slams against his opposing Sealeo, which is really nice. His opponent does shield the third one, so this is a wrinkle that we haven't seen yet in most of these Sealeo Sealeo mirror matchups. You do not see shields, so this opposing Sealeo is going to bring him deep into the red. JEngels has a choice here. He decides to shield and match his opponent's shield count, but in comes the swap. So very, very nice play by Naruto here. I'm a big fan of this gameplay. In comes Dragonair, and the Dragon Breaths are going to bring it down. His opponent's going to think things over. That switch clock is still way backed up. He doesn't have a chance to switch for, I guess, the next 40 seconds or so. In comes an attack from the Dragonair, which will be the Aqua Tail, and his opposing Sealeo does shield. He's able to get to a charge move here, and I think the Dragon Breaths would have KO'd, but he's going to allow the Body Slam through. He does have a very healthy Kingdra, and we know this is a Body Slam, so no need to shield here. He brings down the Sealeo. In comes this Sunny Castform, and Dragonair still has his shields. This is a very good situation. JEngels is a very seasoned user of Sunny Castform. He knew that was not a Solar Beam, and he read that play very, very well. In comes Sealeo, and the Dragon Breaths will wrap that game up. For round 3, he's bringing Dragonair, Kingdra, and Sealeo. So again, same double dragon with Sealeo line, just swapping the flow. JEngels is going to lead his Dragonair right into the Dragonair mirror match. So this is an interesting matchup, and I think it's so funny to see all of these purified Dragonairs running around, because after Return was nerfed, a lot of trainers kept their purified Dragonair because it had the best IV spread, and I'm actually in that group as well. So he does swap beautifully into Sealeo to absorb the Aqua Tail. I'm going to say it one more time, trainers. I'm a big fan of Naruto's swaps here. I think they are a bit aggressive, but I think he does a great job counting and absorbing the attacks the right way. This Sealeo is just going to QSA the heck out of these Body Slams and finally decide to go for his attack. His opponent does shield, though, which is really, really nice, and then he's going to fire off a Body Slam of his own. JEngels is going to get to another body slam here, but not before his opponent fires off a second body slam. So this match has already been leveled out in a lot of ways. JEngels needs one more body slam to wrap up this mirror match, and I know he can tank this one here. So he does allow it through, and then he's trying to get to another one, but again, a beautiful swap by Naruto into that Meganium. This is a really tough opponent to deal with, a very shifty opponent. This Meganium actually gets to the charge move. JEngels was trying to go there for the Dragon Pulse, I think, but he farmed and missed out on the Aqua Tail damage. In comes Kingdra, and Kingdra still has 2 shields. This is a very dangerous Pokemon to deal with. He is going to Dragon Breath down this Meganium, and he's got a boatload of energy. Both the Octazooka and the Outrage are fully charged. In comes Dragonair, and Naruto, I think, has run out of space. He has run out of field to evade JEngels. JEngels' Kingdra is going to close in on the victory here. He does fire off the Octazooka here, nerfing the Sealeo, and then gets to a second Octazooka. He's got to shield this one body slam, trainers, but this is it. He's going to fire off his final Octazooka to bring down Sealeo, and JEngels will win this round. Taking a look at round 7, Christian Allen 1 is going to be bringing his Charizard, Relicanth, Victory Belt, Dragonair, Sealeo, and Venomoth. For game 1, JEngels decides to lead with his Meganium. He does have his Kingdra and Sealeo in the back. Meganium's going to encounter this Dragonair, so this is an interesting matchup. You definitely want to land the Earthquake if you can, but going straight Frenzy Plants is also a great way to go. In comes a Charizard versus this Kingdra. So Charizard has a bit of an energy lead, and that is when it's at its most dangerous. He's actually going to get to a double Dragon Claw here and put a ton of pressure on Kingdra. I think a Charizard was probably my favorite Pokemon to use in the Timeless Cup because it was so hard to use, and when you're able to really do well with it, it was so satisfying. Charizard's a beast, and it is a very, very tough Pokemon to master. In comes Sealeo, and the Powder Snows will bring down the Charizard, but Charizard did a great job. In comes the Relicanth, and JEngels looks for the swap there, but he's going to stay in here and fire off the Aurora Beam. It is not very effective against that Relicanth, but he does swap quickly into Meganium and fire off the Frenzy Plant. Relicanth absolutely has to shield that, being a rock and water type. In comes the Kingdra here, and JEngels is going to try to get to the Earthquake here. He knows he can do it. He's actually going to fire this off here. I don't think this will KO, but it'll bring him close. Yeah, that Dragonair is very, very weak, but he's able to get off one more Aqua Tail, which I think Meganium can tank, which he does, and the Vine Whips are just barely enough. He's unable, though, to get to the Frenzy Plant, and Relicanth is going to get its revenge with the Aqua Tail. In comes Sealeo, and this is not a good situation. JEngels goes straight for the Aurora Beam here. Again, not very effective damage, and this Relicanth is closing in. Ancient Power is going to KO if it lands, and it will be the Ancient Power. Oh, excuse me, it doesn't KO, but it brings that Sealeo very low. A last gasp body slam by Sealeo will not be enough. Relicanth will finish this off with the Water Guns. Going into game 2, JEngels will lead his Dragonair with his Kingdra and Meganium in the back. So definitely very interesting line. He's going to lead Dragonair right into Relicanth. I think he can actually win this matchup in most scenarios, but you have to be careful of that Ancient Power. It would definitely wreck your Dragon-type Pokemon. He does decide to shield that one, and luckily the Relicanth does not get the boost. Relicanth is already insane when it gets the boost. It is just really totally out of hand. He's going to fire off a double Aqua Tail here, which is a very, very nice move. Relicanth is deep into the red, but it gets to one more Ancient Power. JEngels is going to leave his shields at home. It is the Aqua Tail. Excuse me, it wasn't Ancient Power, it was actually Aqua Tail. Interesting. So in comes the Charizard here, and he does have some energy built up, so he goes right for the Aqua Tail, forcing one of his opponent's shields. His opponent's not going to be able to fast move him down, but he is going to be able to get to the Dragon Claw. So very nice for JEngels. He did spend his energy there, but he's got another Dragon Claw loaded, ready to go. Being mindful of a possible Dragon matchup in the back, he is going to spend his last shield on Kingdra, and that's exactly what happens, trainers. You have to be very mindful excuse me, when you're using double dragons, if you face a dragon in the back, will you have enough in the tank to win? And he does. Going into game 3 of round 7, he will lead Kingdra with Dragonair and Meganium in the back. Kingdra is going to come out here and face off against Dragonair. So this is a favorable matchup for Kingdra in most scenarios, but that Dragonair will really put a hurting on Kingdra all the same. He's going to fire off the Octazooka here, just trying to put pressure on this Dragonair to shield, which he does. I don't think this is a Dragon Pulse. I think it's an Aqua Tail, and and it is. Kingdra is going to be able to Dragon Breath down for the win. JEngels will win that lead matchup and the shield advantage, which is really, really big. In comes Dragonair versus the Charizard, and there's no reason not to shield here. You definitely don't want your Charizard to get lined up with the Meganium. So here comes the Sealeo, and he's going to try to get to the Frenzy Plant here, but first his opponent fires off the Aurora Beam. So definitely really nice counting by JEngels, especially this late in the tournament. It's really hard to keep your mind in a place where you can count fast moves like that, but he does it very well. He fires off the Frenzy Plant here, bringing down Sealeo, and then in comes Charizard. He's going to get to the Frenzy Plant here to put some pressure on Zard, which he does decide to shield. So he's hoping here that Zard will spend his energy, but he doesn't. One more Frenzy Plant will not KO, and this Zard is very dangerous at this point, but he swaps beautifully into that Dragonair with the Aqua Tail and is just too fast, and he brings down the Charizard. In round 8, JEngels faces off against one of our mutual friends, ShinyHunterBen. Ben's team is Venusaur, Sealeo, Drapion, Dragonair, Relicanth, and Kingdra. Definitely a very interesting team, going to be very difficult to deal with. For game 1, JEngels will decide to lead with his Dragonair into Venusaur. This is a very, very good lead situation. ShinyHunterBen is going to bail out in favor of Kingdra, and in comes Meganium. So again, not a good situation for Ben. He lost the lead, and he's not going to win this switch in unless he does something really fancy here. So Kingdra is going to go for a charge move, which will be the Outrage. He knew he had to land something big to get rid of this Meganium, but it did get shielded. So in comes another Frenzy Plant, and Ben has to let Kingdra go at this point. Ben decides to bring in his Venusaur, and Venusaur generally will win this matchup, especially with the Sludge Bomb, but this Meganium has a ton of energy already. The switch clock is up, so JEngels can bail if he wants to, but he's going to leave his Meganium in here and force Ben to use his energy. He does fire off the Frenzy Plant. In comes Dragonair. I'm expecting the Sludge Bomb here, and it will be the Sludge Bomb. It does get shielded as well. In comes Shiny Dragonair into Kingdra. So his opponent does have a shield advantage, but this Kingdra is so oppressive. This Dragon Pulse will land, bringing down the Kingdra, but the Dragon Breaths are just enough. In comes an Aqua Tail from JEngels here, and this will force the last shield from his opponent. He actually gets to another Aqua Tail here to seal the deal against Venusaur. In game 2, JEngels leads with Meganium. He does have his Kingdra and Dragonair in the back. Meganium's going to face off against Kingdra here in the lead situation, so Ben is not in a good position here. He does bail out in favor of his own Shiny Kingdra, or excuse me, Shiny Dragonair, and in comes a JEngels Kingdra. So Kingdra will win this matchup. Aqua Tail is not a problem. He throws the Dragon Pulse again, but it's just not enough, trainers. JEngels is reading this matchup really well. He does fire off the Octazooka here against the opposing Kingdra. Does not get the debuff though, so not a great situation for him. He does fire off the Frenzy Plant here with the energy that he gained with Meganium in the lead, and then Ben is actually going to stay in with Kingdra here. He's going to fire off one more attack. I'm expecting the Outrage. It's actually the Octazooka, so good bait, and he does get the attack drop. So Ben is trying to play himself into a better situation here. Frenzy Plant is nerfed, and Drapion takes that no problem. It's an Ice Fang Drapion as well, so there might be a glimmer of hope for Ben here. He does fire off the Fell Stinger, raising his attack even further, but he is out of shield. So JEngels goes for the Dragon Pulse, and he's going to put an end to Ben's dreams, bringing down Drapion. In comes the Kingdra, and here comes Meganium. One more Frenzy Plant is going to wrap this up, and JEngels wrestles this match back for the win. For game 3, JEngels will lead with his Dragonair. He does have Kingdra and Sealeo in the back. He's going to lead his Dragonair right into the opposing Relicanth. So again, a great lead choice by JEngels. In comes the Kingdra, and he's going to go in here with Sealeo. So Sealeo is going to try to land all the body slams it can against this Kingdra. He does bring it down into the yellow, and then his opponent is going to use a charge attack. This is actually going to be the Octazooka, so good bait by him. He does not get the attack debuff though, which is not a great situation for Ben. Here comes another body slam, and it does get shielded once again. A third body slam comes through though, and Sealeo is just so insane. He's going to bring that Kingdra deep into the red. Ben's able to get off one more charge attack, which is great. It is the Outrage to finally put an end to Kingdra, or excuse me, to Sealeo. So congrats on that, Ben. I'm glad you finally put an end to Sealeo. It's been really, really crazy in this cup. Here comes some Dragon Breaths and then a Dragon Pulse. So if this goes unshielded, it will KO, and it is unshielded. So Ben is in a big hole here. He does have to face off Kingdra against Relicanth, and the Dragon Breath is going to be so oppressive. Jingles just has to shield the Ancient Power, and Ben goes right for the throat. He does fire off the Ancient Power, and it does get shielded. So Jingles, again, really parrying these attacks very well from ShinyHunterBen. He's going to get the attack drop as well, and Jingles is just going to put this one to bed. Ancient Power is no problem, and he just Dragon Breaths down for the win. Battlers, we reach the final round of the LA Mega Cup. Jingles is facing off against YodaVick. YodaVick's team is Venusaur, Dragonair, Whiscash, Sealeo, Snowy Castform, and Sunny Castform. Guys, YodaVick did really well in this cup. He was one of the, I think, semi-finalists. He's an awesome battler. Let's see how Jingles handles this. For game 1, Jingles will lead his Sealeo with Dragonair and Kingdra in the back. Sealeo is going to face off here against the Venusaur, so definitely a good lead situation for Jingles here as long as he can land this Aurora Beam. But as you can tell, those Vine Whips are doing a ton of damage, and that's because it's not Vine Whip at all, trainers. It's actually Razor Leaf, so definitely a very nice surprise there by YodaVick. Running a double Castform and a Razor Leaf Venusaur is so gutsy. Really nice choices there. Here comes Whiscash against Dragonair. You do have to defend against the Blizzard, obviously, but that is a Mud Bomb shield bait. He's going to go for the Aqua Tail here, just trying to get this Whiscash off the battlefield, but it's not quite enough. Whiscash gets to one more attack, and Jingles is not going to burn his second shield. It will be the Blizzard. So again, very good baiting by YodaVick there as well. He is going to Powder Snow down the Whiscash, and in comes Venusaur. Again, just trying to put some pressure on Venusaur with the body slams, and he does bring him into the red, but he's able to win that matchup. The last Pokemon is Kingdra, and this Sludge Bomb here is going to get shielded. In comes Dragonair, and this is not good for Jingles. His opponent still has a shield as well, so he's going to fire off the Aqua Tail here. I definitely think Dragon Pulse would have sealed that game, but here comes the Octazooka from Jingles, and the Dragon Breaths are going to bring it down. For game 2, Jingles will lead Kingdra. He does have Sealeo and Dragonair in the back. Kingdra is going to encounter a Dragonair, so definitely a matchup that Jingles can win. He is going to fire off as many Dragon Breaths as he can. In comes an attack from Dragonair, which will be the Aqua Tail, and then YodaVick is going to allow his Dragonair to fall. That is a really good Dragonair, trainers. If you notice, he got that Kingdra down very low. Very nice IVs on that Dragonair. In comes Sunny Castform, and this thing is so cute, so adorable. In comes Venusaur, and the Razor Leafs are going to eat it up. In comes Dragonair, and Dragonair is going to try to Dragon Breath down this Venusaur, but you have to be wary of these charge attacks. He's actually going to allow the Sludge Bomb through, which is a very curious move to me. I definitely don't think you want your Sealeo facing off against the Venusaur, which he does, and the Frenzy Plants are going to be so incredibly damaging that Jingles is not going to last much longer. He is able to get off another Body Slam here to try to drag this match out a little bit longer. In comes Snowy Castform, and Jingles actually pulls it out, which is really impressive. Snowy Castform has a lot of health though, so he's going to burn his second shield on this Weather Ball. And Jingles is trying to get to the double Body Slam. He's going to QSA this first Body Slam and then try to get to one more, and he does it. So he's actually able to land the second Body Slam, and it is enough. Jingles is really crafty there. He's able to pull out the win. For the final game, Jingles will lead Sealeo. He does have Kingdra and Dragonair in the back. So this is for all the marbles. He leads that Sealeo into Venusaur, and those Razor Leafs are going to be so oppressive. He has to go right into his Dragonair. In comes Sealeo, and now the tables have turned. He is going to fire off the Dragon Pulse here, trying to get Sealeo out of the way, but his opponent will shield. So very good shield call by Yoda there. He is going to shield this attack from the Sealeo, which is Body Slam. You know this is another Body Slam, but it's still going to do a great amount of damage because this Dragonair is already so weak. He's unable to get to the Aqua Tail there, maybe an instance of overtapping, but the opposing Sealeo is actually going to go here for another Body Slam, and I mean, Jingles just has to get the Sealeo out of the way. He is facing off against that Venusaur in the back, and if that thing switches in with the Razor Leafs, it's going to be really damaging. So he does fire off the Body Slam here, bringing Sealeo into the red. and his opponent gets to another body slam. So JEngels, recognizing that the Venusaur is going to put an end to Sealeo really quickly, he's okay with letting Sealeo get this weak because he knows he'll just farm it up if he allows it to be any stronger. So then comes Kingdra, and this is a very close matchup, trainers. This Kingdra is going to try to Dragon Breath down the Venusaur, and he's just barely able to do it, but he's out of shields. In comes Dragonair, and this spells the end for JEngels. He's going to fire off the Octazooka, get the attack debuff, but there's just not enough left of Sealeo, and JEngels will lose round 9. Trainers, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to cover JEngels' tournament strategy as best I could and talk a little bit about the matchups that you're seeing a lot in the Timeless Cup these days. I know we've moved on to Fusion, and I definitely hope you'll watch the Fusion videos that are coming out over the next few days, but I hope you enjoyed this tournament recap from the LA Mega Cup featuring King and Trainer tips. Guys, we are hosting a Mega Cup in Orlando on January 18th. King IV will be there, and I hope you will too. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you really enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.